Touche are talking about mass career customization. That instead of my father's career, which was that he worked in Buffalo for an electrical contracting firm for 20 years, then he moved, he changed jobs and went to work for General Electric and worked for 22 more years doing the same job that he was doing before. Essentially did the same job for a career for 40 years, which is what we've always asked a teacher to do, work in a classroom, do the same job for 20 or 30 years. Those days in the larger workforce are over. And we will not be able to compete with that workforce if we continue to offer bright young college graduates what we've been offering people for so long in education. Try it on this campus or any campus you're on. Go to the first 20 students you see. We've got a deal for you. Right out of college, you'll get a job. It's a rewarding career. You'll make a difference in a child's life. You'll have job security. You'll have a good pension at the end. Pay's not that great. Working conditions are challenging, but the work is rewarding. And you've got job security and you've got pension. And you'll be doing the same job when you're 56 that you're doing next year. Okay? How many are going to take that job? Okay? It's just not going to happen. So we've got to start to create career career lattices in education that allow teachers to remain in teaching, but assume new challenges, new professional challenges. And it's going to happen very quickly because this workforce is just going to shift on us very fast as boomers retire. Another, what do we have here?
We'll just click OK on this.
Fine. We are fine with that. And my apologies.
Okay, that's good. All right. So one of the consequences of that turnover and churn already that we're seeing is this. This is the experience curve. Before I was showing you the age distribution of teachers. This is the experience, years of teaching experience of teachers. How many years in the classroom does each teacher have? Okay. It's been marching steadily to the left, okay, which means that we're growing. This peak is getting steeper and steeper. And as these people with experience leave, that peak on the front end is going higher and higher. So we believe at NCTAF that experience matters. Experience matters in teaching. It matters in education. And we are rapidly moving towards a very inexperienced teaching workforce. This was 2004. The median was 12 years. 2008, it's 11 years. Every 4 years, it moves over another year. So we have an unsustainable workforce model, this pipeline. So then the question becomes, who's going to create 21st century schools? Well, as I said, we have a new cohort, a new cadre. It's as large as the boomers, the digital age teachers and youth, who are ready to work in collaborative learning spaces. Not standalone teaching classrooms, but in collaborative learning spaces, where they work in teams with their colleagues. 70% of the boomer teachers are also interested in working longer or working part-time or coming back in some adjunct position if they can do it in a new role, as a coach, as a mentor. There are also 78 million boomers in the larger workforce. Of those boomers, half are saying that they want to give back to their communities, and by the way, most boomers are retiring in their communities. Half want to give back to their communities, and half of them want to do that in education and youth service. That's over 20 million people who say they want to work in education. But if we say the only way you can come in the door is to be a standalone teacher, then we've just shut them out of the game. Because we only have 3.2 million teachers, okay? So what we're saying is create teams, collaborative learning teams, that are led by accomplished teachers, working with digital age teachers, who can incorporate 5, 10 boomers into their learning team on a sustained basis. So where we used to have the power of one accomplished teacher, all of a sudden we could have the power of 15 or 20 working in a classroom or working in a school. So demographics, if nothing else, are going to drive us to massive change. Learning age competencies, back to the fact that we're in the learning age, are going to drive us to this change. These are the competencies that our students need in order to be successful in the learning age. Okay? The core competencies, creative competencies, communication competencies, cultural competencies. We're here at a meeting on teacher preparation. These are the competencies that teachers need in order to develop those competencies and to work together collaboratively in a team. So you need to ask yourself whether your program, if you're responsible for a teacher preparation program, is developing these competencies in teacher candidates. So now we've got demographic forces driving this. Second, we've got a demand for a new skill set, learning age competencies. The third force driving this is that we're going to be working in an open learning economy. Educators are working in an open learning economy. We heard more about this last night also. Again, it's the notion that we are now in a learning ecosystem, not in a school, not in a classroom, but in an ecosystem, in a networked learning environment, okay, in which users, learners, can create content, learning content. They can co-create with their colleagues. Teachers and students working together can co-create content. They have the opportunity to deeply personalize their learning. And when I say personalize, it's not just teachers personalizing it for learners. Learners can personalize their own learning. Okay? The power of these iPhones is not that somebody personalized this for me. I can personalize it for myself. So our learners are going to learn to personalize their learning tools. So that this open learning economy creates an environment where the teacher is no longer the standalone expert, but is part of a team, again, part of a network, facilitating the learning of others. The fourth force that we see driving this change is that the learning age process, change process, is different than the one we've tried to use in the past. We've tried to use kind of top-down managed reform. Okay, we will direct reform, we will come up with the model, we will prescribe, we will direct change. Change now is in the hands of the users, in the hands of the learners. They can drive their own organizations. They can create their own learning spaces. They can take professional responsibility for creating a more powerful learning environment. Okay, we don't have to use sticks and carrots with teachers who would hold themselves professionally accountable for creating a quality learning space if we just gave them the opportunity to do that. Okay, we need to stop kind of coming top-down with change and start using an empowered social networking strategy to enable teachers as we need to see in our schools. This may all sound like it's kind of pie in the sky, but it's happening. As you know, if you've seen my slides before, I love these slides, but I want to point some things out about this. My field is cultural anthropology. I've been around long enough that I watched television in the 50s, watch television today. I see different cultural themes in the programming. Okay? Perry Mason, which some of you may have watched, not in reruns, but in the originals. You know, what's the story? What's the storyline? The theme of Perry Mason is that a standalone hero solves the case. Perry Mason knew and could do everything. Just the way we ask a teacher. We expect a teacher to know and do everything for a class of 30 students for a year. We expect a teacher to be a superhero, basically. It's just not reasonable.